Back to the Future sequel is filmed back to back, and it takes us to the Old West. So, let's get into it.
For me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to another episode of For Me, It Was Tuesday. I'm your host, GQ. Do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button.
Nobody calls me Mad Dog.
Like the video, leave some comments on this video and the other ones that I've done. Share the other videos that I've done, spread some of that Culture Junkies love around the world. Don't forget to check out culturejunkies.net. Also, make sure to hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are also on Twitch and Discord, so we are pretty much everywhere. Today, we're going to be wrapping up the Back to the Future trilogy with Back to the Future Part 3. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, once again starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Thomas F. Wilson, and Mary Steenburgen. So Back to the Future Part 3 was literally filmed back to back with Back to the Future Part 2. Both films were filmed basically at the same time. So a lot of double, triple, and even in some cases quadruple duty for some of the cast members. Really interesting story. They go back to the Old West, which of course for Hollywood is not much of a stretch to do an Old Western style set and setting for a film. Pretty interesting story this time around. This film is actually the longest of all the Back to the Future films. It clocks in at just under 2 hours long. And all in all, really fun story. Of course, if you remember the last Back to the Future film, Part 2, Marty was in 1955 and saw the DeLorean get struck by lightning, and for what he thought at that moment, he thought Doc had died. Of course, the DeLorean looked like it exploded or blipped back in time or whatever. Of course, moments after that, he gets a letter from 1885. The Doc is alive working as a blacksmith in the Old West, and he returns to 1955 Doc, because obviously he's stuck in 1955, to figure out how he's going to get himself back home. Doc of the Old West told him through the letter, do not try to come and get me. I'm happy here. I'm enjoying life, blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, when they find the cave that the Doc hid the DeLorean in, and they, of course, recover it, and it's got, obviously they got to try to repair it using 1955 parts, which of course Doc in the letter told them how to do. Marty discovers a tombstone that shows that Doc was killed 6 days after he wrote the letter. So of course Marty and of course 1955 Doc are like, hey, we can't really let this happen. I like being alive, and yes, I understand what what was said in the letter, but you got to come get me. And pretty cool. There is one really odd shot in the film while they're doing research, trying to get a little bit more information about 1885 and the area at that time period. It's an overhead shot. It looks like they tried to do it like a matte painting style shot, and with 4K resolution, it really sticks out as just a bad effects shot. And it's like ILM did the effects for this film, so it's kind of like, you guys are always at the top of your game, and to see that really jarring effect. And again, I think it's mainly because I was rewatching the film, more for a critique, less than just the enjoyment of the film. Because when I was younger, I never noticed it, but as I looked at it recently, it's like, wow, that really stands out, and it's kind of bad. But honestly, that doesn't disrupt the film itself. It's to be expected. It's an older film, and that high resolution kind of, it makes certain things not look as good as they could. Thomas F. Wilson, of course, is back as, this time around, Buford Mad Dog Tannen. Thomas F. Wilson is a great actor, and Buford Tannen just works. It's like, there's a lot of Biff in there, but it's just amplified with, of course, the ruggedness of the Wild West, and it's really fun to see how he just kind of gets in and plays an old-time Western gunslinger. And I don't know, I think Buford Tannen is probably one of the more entertaining parts of this film overall, especially his original beef was with Doc. He felt that Doc owed him $80, and that's why he shot him, of course, and even his tombstone reads that, you know, he was shot in the back over the matter of $80, which hilariously, $80 in 1885, $80 would be the equivalent of, in today's money, about $2,100. I think it's like $2,150, somewhere in that range. And it's like the $5 whiskey would have been the equivalent of about $100 or $115. So it's like, I don't know if the math is just off or it's just, they just were like, look, $80 sounds like a good number to use, because it was 75 for the horse and then 5 for the whiskey that the whiskey that he dropped when the horse threw him or whatever. So it's really funny just to see how the math just kind of is a little bit weird. But again, it's a movie. They threw it in there because it's a nice round number to kind of wrap your head around. Like, okay, well, yeah, he got killed over $80. 75 for the horse, 5 for the whiskey, boom, there's your $80. That's what the whole problem was. And also the other thing I liked with Buford was when he, you know, of course, Marty, who's now calling himself Clint Eastwood, because you're back in the West, why not? Nobody's gonna challenge that. Gets kind of in the way, and it's just like, it's like, okay, well, yeah, we're gonna have this fight, and we're gonna do it tomorrow. And he's like, and one of his gang members is like, Buford, we can't do it tomorrow. We're robbing the stagecoach tomorrow. He's like, okay, well, how about Monday? We do anything Monday? It's just, it's like, it's one of those things that is like, if it happened in a Western movie, it would be way out of place and be like, okay, now they're just being stupid. But for it to happen in this film, it works because, I mean, obviously it's, you know, this film is part action, part comedy and all of that. So I really enjoyed Buford Tannen's character. Mary Steenburgen as Clara, whatever, love interest for Doc, just shows a different side of Doc. You know, obviously Christopher Lloyd being a great actor as well, it gives him a chance to not just be the wild-eyed, you know, crazy-haired Doc. He actually, you know, gets to show his romantic side and that sort of thing. So that was actually kind of fun. Again, as a kid, I didn't care. It was like, get back to the gun shooting and Buford Tannen and all that. Another funny carryover is the Jones Company, which we saw Howling Manure in 1955. And is still the same company hauling manure in 1885. And of course, Buford winds up with a face full of manure and a mouth full of manure in this film. So I don't know what it is about Zemeckis or Bob Gale, the writer, why they like using the manure joke, but third time's a charm, Buford Tannen ends up in manure by the end of the film. All in all, Back to the Future 3, Part 3, fun film. I don't know. It's not so much, and I hate to use the pun, stands the test of time, but it kind of does, I guess, because it's a Western. And it's like, well, it's a Western, so there's going to be little things that you can throw in there that just, they kind of don't age. As much as like the second film, obviously the second film being set in 2015. 2015 was 5 years ago, as of, you know, the time of this recording. So we get to see all of the stuff that did not happen. Now, granted, they are even admitted in filmmaking that we know there's going to be stuff that's just not going to be right, and we're not trying to predict the future. We're just trying to present our vision of what 2015 is like in this universe. So all in all, Back to the Future Part 3, great film, and I'm going to leave you guys with these final words. For some of you out there, when you found out about a time-traveling DeLorean, kind of intrigued, so you went to go see the first film. Then you had fun in the first film, and it led right into a cliffhanger for a second film. Then when you saw the second film, you got a teaser trailer for a third film that was going to be coming out in a mere 6 months. And when Back to the Future Part 3 arrived, it was fun, it was entertaining, it was exciting, and it was everything it was supposed to be. And for some of you guys, that was just a big, huge shock, and just couldn't believe that films could actually have a successful trilogy. But hey, for me,
It was Tuesday.
I'll see you guys next time. Hey, this is GQ giving a shout out to DeMarcus Smith, Fab Nerd Life, and the NetNet, our Culture Junkies level patrons. Appreciate you guys and all of your support. If you would like to get a shout out from yours truly, stick around to the end of the video, you'll find out how that's done. But if you're not worried about getting a shout out and you just want to support for as little as $1 a month, not even $1 a day like some of those other places, you can support a Culture Junkie. Just check out Culture Junkies' Patreon page, which is patreon.com/culturejunkies. And again, like I said, there'll be more information after this, and you will find out how that can be done. And we appreciate all your support, the likes, the loves, and especially sharing our videos. and I'll see you guys later. If you're enjoying our content, please consider going to our Patreon and becoming a supporter. There are different tiers to select from, and we thank you for your support.